going to be making another meal with Brad Semon of The Painted Plate. Thank you for joining us. You have brought over food that you had in your refrigerator, and you had a lot, and so this is for multiple meals, but he's been gracious enough to bring them over and share with us some quick things that you could do if you happen to have these same sort of ingredients in your refrigerator. So now what are we gonna do, Brad?
So next up what we're gonna do, and I really like this dish, what we're gonna do is a Parmesan Crusted Salmon, and I'm gonna serve this with blistered tomatoes and asparagus. This really works for any kind of fish, but I think salmon, just because it's oily and tends to be great. Just to handle it a little easier if it's not big, huge pieces. So, and then we talked about the fact that we're gonna do some blistered tomatoes with this. Oftentimes, got a situation where some of these tomatoes are gonna sit around for a while, even if they're not. You know, we all know that, that tomatoes, I'm just gonna put them right in there.
How many do you need?
Do that 2 more times.
Okay.
Even if they're not, you know, I find that tomatoes that are out of season, you know, these particular tomatoes I really like, but they still don't have that concentration of sugar in the tomato that we might like that you're gonna get in the middle of summer. Right. So what this is gonna do is a couple things. One is it's gonna add a little color, it's gonna be a great little garnish. 2 is it's gonna start to it's gonna blister the skin a little bit, make it a little more pleasing to eat. That's perfect. And 3, it's gonna start to kind of concentrate the sugars in that tomato. So, and this really, you could just stick these in the oven if you want. This is a pretty easy way to make it, but I want to see them kind of blister and brown. So we're just gonna leave these be. Over here is Ellen's composting jar, which is very important. And over here, I'm just gonna take a couple eggs and I'm gonna break them in the stainless steel. So, got my little stainless steel bowl. I put 3 eggs in here. This is purely a matter of how much of this you want to make. All right? That's all it is egg. This is not sweetened condensed. This is evaporated milk, which is pretty versatile, and you might have this in your cooler. And this is not, you don't absolutely have to have dairy in this. You can make it without. Kind of lightens it up a little bit. But I'm gonna take a little bit of that evaporated milk and I'm gonna add that to the egg. Now, and then I'm gonna take a little bit of fresh ground pepper. Start to see my tomatoes are starting to get a little color on them. Yeah. Just keep tossing them around a little bit. So I've got my whipped egg and I'm gonna put quite a bit. Let's call this a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese in my egg wash, okay? Now, that's one of the reasons why I added a little bit of this dairy, is because I want to let this cheese hydrate for just a second. And I've got my pan in the middle here that's getting hot. And I've got my tomatoes rolling. And I'm going to, this needs a pretty good bit of oil. It's gonna get half olive oil. And I'm gonna use a fair amount of butter. And again, like we talked about, I'm gonna let this butter foam. I want the milk solids to start to evaporate, because what I'm really interested in is cooking this in oil. I'm not interested in that oil being too dark. So I'm watching and moving this butter through the pan. The pan is right now on high heat, because when I drop this fish in, it's gonna bring that temperature down. I just have a little bit of all-purpose flour right here. And I'm gonna dredge the salmon in the flour. And I'm waiting for the foam to subside. And I'm gonna knock off the extra flour. And I'm gonna dredge this salmon. And so I've kind of kept track of where the skin side is, and that's gonna go up. And I'm gonna drop this.
Skin side up, okay.
Skin side up. And if I missed getting this flour on anything, you'll notice that it doesn't love to stick. So it's really, you kind of got to do the flour. And then I'm just going to take on the top and I'm going to strain with my hands, pull a little more of that cheese out of there. I'm going to bring this temperature down just a little bit, because now I've got egg and cheese, and the secret is going to be to cook the fish without burning the cheese.
I know you said you like paper towel, so there you go.
Now, what else goes great with salmon is capers. And so it's fine at this point in time into my saute. And capers are pretty darn good with eggs too. I'm just going to let the capers kind of fry a little bit in that oil. And it's going to give it a little briny saltiness, which is, again, if you look at your ingredients down the line, you want to kind of think about that when you're building. And this dish is just about done, by the way. As far as ingredients, what I'm going to do now is finish, after I get this done, I'm going to, again, do a little pan reduction with some white wine and lemon, but I don't want to integrate any liquid into this. I just want the oil, kind of got it on this medium heat. I'm going to loosen the egg. See, I've got that nice little crust on there. And I can't rush this, right? And I got to make sure, if you try to do this without enough oil, you're just not going to get, and you can see that there's a lot less oil in here than there was. It's going to get absorbed in this process. It really needs to be there. If it's too eggy, if the egg is just too soft, it just doesn't work. So I'm keeping the heat up just a little while, just so I can get that same sear on the bottom. I've got this thing on kind of low, medium heat. I've turned off my tomatoes. See how they're nice and caramely blackened, kind of wilted.
And that's what you call blistered.
Yeah, and so they're blistered tomatoes. And then got my lemon ready. This is really kind of just a plate presentation thing. So what I'm going to do with these is they're going to kind of be on the side of the plate. And I'm going to actually leave, I'm not that worried about this caramelization from these tomatoes, right? But I'm going to take my asparagus. Now these are not perfect asparagus, but a lot of people cut the stems off of the asparagus. Really, what you want to do with the asparagus, in the perfect world, is allow them to snap. Wherever they snap is probably going to be where the woody, fibrous part of the asparagus ends. And so, and I've kind of got this, if you think about what's going on in here, I did kind of rinse it a little bit, but all this is kind of that essence of the tomato. And I'm just going to kind of quickly blanch those asparagus. Going to go in this dish. Now I'm going to give this one more turn, even though I'm going to have to turn it again, just to get it done properly. You can see the capers have now kind of made themselves part of the salmon dish.
Love it. Wow, look at that.
So now, what am I going to do? Now you can add garlic in this, but I feel like I've overdone the garlic for some of you. It's not that important. So lemon, wine, butter, see how my capers, the few remaining, are still sitting in there. So what, these have been here for, these need maybe 1 minute. They don't take a long time. This time, I'm just gonna throw my parsley into this reduction. Maybe a little more lemon. And this is my sauce.
Wow. Bon appetit. And what do we call this again?
So this is salmon Parmesan, and I'm gonna, I guess if you're cooking for your family, you don't have to garnish, but I do like a little garnish. I tend to like odd numbers. So 3 little slices of lemon, which have a function with this because I think they're still good with a little more lemon. So now you're really getting the saltiness of the Parmesan, the egg, the tomato. It's a pretty simple dish.
Thank you. This is great. What a fabulous meal. Quick. This one really took you maybe 15 minutes. You had the ingredients out and you knew it in your mind, but we'll share the recipe with you. Hope you enjoy. Send us your ideas. Follow us on TheHome.com. Bon appetit.